so we're over here that I worked my way back into my garden, and we are going to do a pod review today on the classic red habanero. Now this is coming from a plant that's either 4 or 5 years old. I started this plant in 2014 and we're in 2019, so figure it out yourself. It was roughly January or December of 2014. No, that area, I started in the wintertime, either 2013 in December and then 2014, somewhere in there, I started this plant. And this plant is still alive and it's 2019. As you can see, there are pods ready on it, but they need to come off because I think I'm going to bring this plant back in for the winter and see how long we can keep this plant going. But we got some really nice pods on here, and we're going to pick these off, and we're going to do a pod review on them. So let me just pick them. Okay, so here we are, and as you can see, these are the red habaneros. They were giving me a little bit of a hard time getting them off the plant, but I have to get them off, even if I have to break the stem to get them off, because these plants got to get dug up and brought in pretty soon, so something's got to happen. Now, this plant, like I said earlier, is probably somewhere between 4 and 5 years. Again, I started in the beginning of 2014, so we're 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. This is going on 6 years at this point now. In December or January of coming in, this will be as old as 6 years old. That's a very old pepper plant to have that many years. So that's what it looks like. Now, this is a classic habanero. This was originally labeled as orange habanero, but I relabeled it as red habanero, and the reason why I did that is because they're orange in the beginning, but then eventually they turn red. They don't stay orange. So I don't feel that that's a true description of this habanero variety. Okay, this is a classic habanero, guys. This is none of these, all these peach habaneros and bull face habaneros and all these other habaneros they got. This is the original, typical habanero that you used to be able to get in the stores, and you really can't get these in the stores anymore because they simply don't sell them very often. You got to go to farmers markets where they sell traditional habaneros. So it's really hard to get this variety of habanero now because all the stores now are selling designer type habaneros like the peach flavored habaneros and the lower heat habaneros. That's what you're getting now. This is the classic original type of red habanero that you used to get in the stores. And you can still get them when you see them, but most often you don't see them very often. Everything's jalapenos, serranos, poblanos, Anaheims. That's what you see now. You don't see these classic beauties right here, okay? That's a classic you're looking at right there. And so it's a shame that these are disappearing, but I keep them around anyway because I still like them. I still eat them, just not as much as I used to, but this plant can be very productive. I mean, this year I didn't get very many off it. I maybe got twice what you see here, maybe even 3 times what you see here. But I used to get habaneros that used to come off that plant by the hundreds. So if you plant this thing out in full sun with good soil, you'll get hundreds of pods off of one plant. More than you can ever know what to do with. All right, so let's turn you around and give it a go. Alright guys, we're doing another pod review today, and today's pod review is going to be on the classic 6-year-old red habanero. Like I said earlier, at one time this was actually classified as an orange habanero, but I reclassified it as a regular red habanero because it doesn't stay orange very long. It goes from a green stage to an orange stage, and then it eventually turns red. That's not an orange pepper, that is a red pepper that just went through a couple of color variations. It's not a orange habanero like it was advertised as. And this is a big seed company, guys. This isn't a little seed company. I'm not talking Baker Creek or anything. I'm talking big commercial grade seed companies. And that's how they listed it. But it's not an orange habanero. It's a red habanero. So this pepper came off a plant that is now going to be 6 years old very soon, in the next few months. And that's a very old plant. I think the oldest plant I ever had that I've kept around as far as peppers was about 7 years. That was about as old as I ever had it. So I've never had a plant for 10 years, but we're going for it. And this is the candidate to do it because it's already 6 years into it, another 4 years, and we're going to break one of my old records, which was around 7 years, that I've had a jalapeno plant, actually, for that many years. And I'd done that years ago. And I kept it alive for years, and it produced peppers pretty much for the whole time. And in 1 year, I left it out, and a frost got it, and that was pretty much the end of it. I couldn't get it to come back. It died. And that was the end of it. But here it is. And without any further ado, let's give it a go. A little bit of black in that one. Okay, let's let the heat build on that. And I did spit that one out because I don't know what's in that black part of it. So I might even take another one and bite another one because I don't think I'm going to get the true heat effect out of it. It didn't really form. The flavor on these habaneros are very traditional and classic habanero flavor, except the flavor on these are a little lower than I remember them in the past. They were usually a little bit more habanero flavory. This year, they're not as habanero flavory. The peppers cross. No, the peppers didn't cross. That's a 7-year-old plant or a 6-year-old plant. The peppers did not cross. This is just the way the pods come out sometimes. Yeah, we're going to bite another one. When I see black in it, that's like a major turnoff. You know, I don't need to be eating mold. Now, that was mold. Okay, so here we go. Here's another one going in. Nice. Okay. Okay, now that had a really good full flavor for a habanero. Had the full flavor, fully ripened. Has a little bit of sweetness, kind of low on the tanginess. Has a light fruity taste. Doesn't have a fruity taste anywhere near a fatale. Nothing like that. It has a light fruity taste. It's very mild. And the heat is starting to kick in. And the flavor, it was just all around mild for this habanero. Some habaneros are just really spicy and flavored. The flavor really overdoes itself and starts to nauseate me after a while, and I don't want to keep tasting that for much longer after I eat it. It's not that I don't like the taste of it, it's just the intensity of that spiciness is just sometimes starts putting me off. But this one's nice, very low flavor, no spiciness on it at all. Again, for you new people, when I say spicy, I'm not talking about heat. I'm talking about that flavor that hangs around in your mouth after you eat something like sausage and how it affects your body. If you ever eat spicy sausage and you keep getting the belches from it and upset stomach, that's what I refer to as spicy. So you new people need to know that before you assume I'm talking about spicy and heat. Heat is a totally different thing. We cover that separately. Okay, the heat's coming in on this one, and it's not bad. It's a pretty good burn. Right now, I put this heat at about 30,000. Right now, it's about 30,000 on Scoville. This thing's cooking. It's got the whole end of my tongue going. Almost feels like dragon's breath, but I know it ain't dragon's breath. It's just my mouth is all scorched around the top and the bottom. So when I breathe out, I can feel the air going in and out. Not that it hurts, it's just a little bit on the back of the throat. It's mostly the tongue. The whole tip of the tongue is fried all the way in the front, across the ends. Lips are burning a little bit on the gums where I chewed it. Where the gums meet the teeth, that area right there, those gums are a little bit lit. A little bit under the tongue. Like I say, back in the throat, a little bit, going into the esophagus a little bit. Not bad. It's a nice burn. This particular habanero, I'm just not going to put it right now over 30, maybe 40,000 Scoville, something like that. It's not 100 or 200. It's not a Savina. It's definitely not a Caribbean Red. No, Caribbean Reds and Savinas, no, those things are going to put a hurting on you. And this is much more mild compared to that. You could actually eat these things pretty straight. Now, that was the bottom of the pepper. We're going to take a bite off the side. Now it's fruity. Okay, now the fruitiness really picked up towards the top of the pepper. Got really fruity. And I think the heat's going to come up now. The top of the pepper is... I was able to taste a little bit of soap on that. And there was oil inside that thing towards the top. It was kind of, I felt the stickiness from the oil. Now the heat's coming up a little. It's a little low, 30, 40,000 for a habanero. That's a little low, guys. Shouldn't be that low. Should be up near 100, to be honest with you, on the low end. I think that's the range for it, too. 100,000 to 350. Okay, now the heat's coming in. The heat's really starting to come in. It's cooking the top of my tongue now, all the way to the back. It's starting to sting. It's actually starting to get to the back of the throat a little bit. A little bit more down the throat, going into the esophagus. Whew. Not bad, though. Easy burn. Easy burn. It is frying the tongue really good, though. Mostly the tip of the tongue, along the edges, and then coming back towards from the tip back. And that's really about it. Oh, it's starting to heat up good, guys. Ooh, boy. This one's got a number on it. That number is going way up now. Okay, we're going to definitely bring that number up on the heat. I'm going to bring that up to probably going into the 60 range. Yep, it's a pain. It's a painful one. Whew. Not bad. It feels good on the back of the throat. It's hitting the tonsils a little bit. It's kind of scratching up the tonsils. Feels good. It's making my saliva kind of gooey, so it's hard for me to swallow. I have to spit it out, or else I'll be blowing bubbles with my saliva as I'm talking. Oh, that heat is really hitting the tongue really good. Really good. I wouldn't go anything more than 50 to 60 on this stove. It's not that hot at all. It's pretty pleasant. It's a pretty nice, pleasant burn. But that's it. That's really it for my 6-year-old red habanero plant. Classic habanero, classic flavor. These are the traditional habaneros. Not all the new designer habaneros you see available in the market. This is a traditional one. That is the typical pheno you're going to see for it. I do offer seeds on my website for it, so visit hrseeds.com. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care.